Honestly, I just thought, well, it's gone. You know, there's an album that was released that, to all intents and purposes, nobody heard, was buried, and then some Italian guy finds it and redoes it all 35 years later, and suddenly there's people emailing me and they're writing nice things in Mojo. It's just ridiculous, you know. I mean, God, I wish it happened then. You know?
Sunshine and in shadow, and the day will come again, my friend, that gave me a rainbow. Shoes and chips at fingertips, successes with distinction, discussed by glib street corner kings who slyly play convention in the hollow.
I'd actually been going to orchestral nights at university, and there was all this stuff going on around you. There was artistic stuff everywhere, you know, and there was, you know, all the music students from the local music college were playing, and, you know, you go and see their concerts, and I was, you know, see these people playing Johann Sebastian Bach and all this stuff, and think, wow, you know, I'd never really listened to it that much before and really got into that sort of classical side of things. You know, I started sort of formulating this idea of, oh, maybe I can write stuff with strings. I had not got a clue about, you know, scoring stuff. I had absolutely no training at all. So I just did it, you know, and I thought, well, oh, bugger it, you know, sitting and learning to do things takes too long. I'm too impatient, so I'll just do it, you know. So, you know, I sat down with this old tape recorder and started writing these songs, and I think, oh, it's a string line. And I go, you know, and then I'd play it on guitar, and then play the tape recorder back and listen to it and think, oh, that sounds all right. And so I remember that, you know, the first time I got these string players in, I said, look, this is what I'm doing. They said, oh, that sounds really interesting. And they said, well, where's the music? I said, well, I haven't actually got any, you know. So, but it goes like this, you know, and sort of play this to them. I said, oh, okay. And they sort of got their pencils out and started writing it. And we started playing it, and it was just amazing. You know, I was like, wow, you know. So I was really kind of conscious of doing something different, and probably deluded in some ways, because, you know, it's really hard to do that, but I definitely tried. We were just signed up, that was it, you know. And I thought, oh, this is tremendous, you know, this is really great, and everybody's very excited. And so we practiced and went to London and started recording it.
I have an order from General Waller, calling for slaughter. He said that stems from his dream. Isn't this your dream? Tell me what it means. Impossible it seems, improbable the dream is.
There's players, and they're really at the end of their musical tether playing it, you know. They're just kind of, it's really exciting and sort of hanging off the knife edge, but it gets there, you know. There was an advert came out in Melody Maker. That was the only promotion we had. The reviews were all good, you know. I said, really interesting band, very unusual, looking forward to the follow-up. There wasn't one, yeah, that was it. When we recorded the album, he said, yeah, great, really good. And what I need to do now is get you onto some tours and get you out playing and this sort of thing. So I said, okay, fine, fantastic. 1 month went into 2 months, and oh yeah, there's a tour coming up, and I've got you on that. And okay, great. So I go back to the rest of the people in the band and say, yep, a couple of months, okay, we'll better get this happening. And then 6 weeks would go by, and 2 weeks before the tour, he'd never ring me, I'd ring him. And I think he got cold feet on the whole thing. Something happened, I don't know. But it kind of didn't happen. And in the end, I went to him and said, look, you know, nothing's happening. We've got to make a decision on this. Where are we going with this? You know, and he said, well, you know, I just don't think I can get it happening for you. You know, it's just not going to work. So I said, all right. I thought of myself, you know, okay, we're a kind of pop band. We're a pop band doing this. That's what we are. And his thought was, oh, you know, we'll have all the girls in crinolines and this kind of thing. Maybe he thought we were more kind of Eurovision, you know, I don't know, you know, that sort of thing. And when we didn't kind of fit into that kind of image where we thought, oh no, we're not that, you know, we're not going to do that. Oh, and then it was then his kind of marketing strategy. Thought, oh, what am I going to do with these guys now? Because we just didn't fit into any bag.
Days, hoping for new ways, realize the dreamers that we are, fashioning echoes out of our madness, selling out to no one but ourselves.
It was such a, you know, sad thing, and it occupied so much of, you know, my time, not my time, myself emotionally. I mean, and then it just hits the wall at the end of it. And it's kind of like this, I liken it to kind of a sort of relationship that ends. And at that point, I thought, right, that's it. And I kind of just almost, you know, I tried to sort of wipe the slate clean. Okay, that's put that behind me, draw the curtains on that one. And I never kind of revisited it again. That was the end of it. It's buried. And I kept the, you know, album tapes. Anybody ever spoke to me about the album, I'd say, oh yeah. Gone beyond that now, you know, forget it.
It's a mug's game. All these Friday nights. It's just a mug's game. From the moment that you're born until the instant that you're dead. All your picnics.
And Dave Warner turned up. He said, oh look, you know, I want to get a band together in Australia, and when I've got a thing going, I'll give you a call, and perhaps you'd like to come over and play. And I thought, oh yeah, great, Dave. Yeah, no worries. And that's the end of it. I thought, well, of course, Dave, about 18 months later, calls me up and says, oh, hi, Tone, do you want to come to Australia? I've got a record deal. You know, so I joined Dave Warner's from the suburbs.
I wake up every morning with no one beside me. I wake up every...
This is about 76, and we were really starting to fire. We were really happening then, you know, really exciting live act, and crowds were just phenomenal. I mean, you know, we always held the house record at the Bondi Lifesaver. It just kind of, that was us, you know.
Just a suburban boy, and I know what it's
like. You know, there's this guy called Alan Bond. He's having a go at the America's Cup. And he's going to have a really good go at winning it. I was, oh, yeah, that's good on him, that's good. But he needs some, you know, advertising, music and fundraising and things like this. And would you guys be interested in doing it? There was no money in it, but I thought, oh yeah, well, worth doing it. We'll do it. So he wrote this song.
Australia 2, we're gonna win. Australia 2, we're the crew.
We had this thing demoed, and nobody would touch it. And then they kind of started winning, and it was too late for a record company to get on board. So the local Coles got on board, Coles supermarkets, you know. So we started doing these in-store promos of this bloody song. And then of course they won. And you know, we ended up doing the victory parade through Perth with all the, you know, Matilda the kangaroo. It's all very tacky, you know. God, it really was, but it's funny though.
We're gonna bond together, make the Yankees chase our tail, bring home...
It certainly served its purpose with us, you know, it got us going, and we had a really very successful sort of 6-7 years in Perth, sort of doing ads for people and money for old rope, really. You know. I just really had stopped writing, you know, but it still kind of remains with you. And I just didn't feel the need for it, really. I just had no desire to. I hadn't got anything to say, really, and that sort of thing. So I didn't really bother with that. In the intervening 35 years, whatever it was, since the album was released, and I'd kind of wiped it completely from my mind and just turned my back on it, really. It was a sort of situation where it was just forgotten. Nobody remembered it. It kind of just wasn't known of. One advert and Melody Maker, I mean, hey, it's not gonna gel with anyone. And any of my friends they knew how I felt about it, so they weren't gonna mention it. And yeah, so we just all moved on and it was gone, buried, gone. So I thought. Dave called me up one day and said, look, I've just had an email from this guy in Italy called Gianpaolo Vanelli. And he wants to talk to you about something called FUCHSIA you were involved in. I said, what? You know, okay, so what the hell is this about, you know? So I contacted him and said, you know, and he wrote back to me and said, oh, I'm so pleased to have been in touch with you, because, you know, he said, oh, there have been people trying to get in touch with you for years about this album. And I said, well, what, FUCHSIA? Yeah. The first thing he said to me, look, go on the internet and just type in Tony Durant FUCHSIA, which is what I did. And there are all these things coming up, you know, there's, you know, I sort of, get your copy of FUCHSIA here, and there's some North Korean record plant producing it. And I thought, what is this, you know? And he said, yeah, look, he said, you know, people just have discovered this album. There's a big resurgence in progressive music, and people have started to really hit on this album. And it's been out for, people have been producing it for years and talking about it on the net. And I said, oh, are you kidding? You know, I just don't believe it.
Okay.
Right.
Can you start that again from the top?
Yeah.
I'm rolling now, so...
Okay. It was very artistic and out there, and never written for the mass market. But he thought, well, by pursuing that, you never know your luck by pushing the boundaries. But then to have these people turn around and say, it's lovely, it's really affected us, it's great, you know, yeah, it's fantastic. My father always wanted me to do something else. There was never any real, you know, sort of coming out in a way. You know, I remained in the closet with him for years, you know. But it was just like, in the end, you suddenly realise that you're a musician, you're not qualified to do anything else. There's nothing else I can do, you know.
The plaster cracks, you disappear. But when all's said and done, you're there to die alone.